Hey friends, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows It, and today I'm going to show you how I made this Hey Boo pennant wand using my Cricut Explorer Air 2 to cut the felt. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I did was go ahead and design the little pennant banner in the Hey Boo in the Cricut design space, and I've gone ahead and made this design public so that I can share it with all of you. So I will share a link to this in the description below this video so you can make the same thing if you want to. The banner is actually 6 by 4 inches, and then the Hey Boo fits perfectly over it. If you want to mess with the sizes, obviously you can. The great thing is that I went ahead and left a little bit of extra right there on the left side of the banner so you could wrap it around a dowel rod to make the little wand, and so that's why there's so much extra space to the left of where the Hey Boo is. So let's go ahead and get ready to make it. Okay, so since I'm using two colors of felt, one for the pennant and one for the Hey Boo, I'm going to kind of separate these two different designs on the mat. That way I can put both colors of felt down and actually cut both parts of the design at the same time. I definitely recommend using the Cricut felt. This Cricut felt is a little bit more stiff and thinner, kind of more like a paper than the regular felt you're going to find at a craft store, and it is definitely better for using with your Cricut Explorer Air. And so I've gone ahead and cut the pieces I need, about like a 5 by 7 piece for the banner and then a 4 by 5 inch piece for the Hey Boo, so that way I know there's plenty of space to cut the designs in the size I had set. And so even though we're using the Cricut felt, I definitely recommend using some kind of heat and bond agent, and I'm going to be using the freezer paper for this. It works just fine. We're going to go ahead and iron the freezer paper onto the back of the felt. So I actually have my Cricut heat press right here that I'm going to be using, but you can use an iron if you don't have the heat press. And so just go ahead and cut a piece of freezer paper the same size as your pieces of felt. Doesn't have to be exact, just close enough. I'm going to kind of hold my felt onto the freezer paper and kind of cut around it to get the right sizes. And so when we iron this on, the freezer paper has two sides. It actually has kind of a shiny side and a flat side. It'll be really obvious once you get your freezer paper out. And so we're going to put the shiny side down when we iron it. So go ahead and cut your pieces out. And like always, I'll go ahead and make sure I link everything that I'm using, all the supplies in the description below this video. That way, if you want to grab anything that I'm using, you can find it easily. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and iron this freezer paper onto the felt. Remember, shiny side down on the felt and the matte side will be up facing you. I went ahead and put my heat press at 340, but I'm not going to do it any specific amount of time, just kind of moving it around. Let me lower this so you can see what I'm doing. But moving it around until I can tell that the freezer paper is really attached nicely onto the felt. You just kind of want to have this backing, that way it'll cut better. Okay, so I can tell that's attached really nicely. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with the other piece of felt. Okay, so for this, I've had better luck using this strong grip mat, especially when it's cutting the parts of the letters like the Hey Boo. Sometimes it will try to pull the felt up off of the mat if you're using just the regular mat. So use a strong grip mat. You can try the fabric mat if you want to, and then we're just going to go ahead and place the felt on the mat exactly how we have it set up in the Cricut design space. Okay, so I just want to double check real quick that I have the felt on the mat in the exact way that I need it to cut where I have it. So you can always kind of move the pieces around in the Cricut design space if you need to lower it according to where you put your felt. But just make sure that everything is definitely within the lines on the Cricut design space so that it will cut where you need it to cut. Go ahead, click continue, and make sure your Cricut is set to custom so you can choose the base material, type in felt, and then we're going to pick the felt that says felt wool bonded. That is the one that we want. So go ahead and click that. It's up to you if you want to do more pressure or not. My blade is not the sharpest. I use it for a ton of stuff like cutting out stickers. So I went ahead and did more pressure. You can try it without and see if you need to recut it. But I did more pressure because I knew that I would need it. So go ahead and load the Cricut and let it cut the design out. Now it's time to go ahead and peel the felt up off of the mat. So this freezer paper on the back of the felt will make it really kind of stick to the mat. This is not something you want to set to the side and leave until later to peel off, because the longer it sits, it seems like the more that backing wants to stick to the mat. So go ahead and peel it up. You do want to be a little bit careful with the letters and make sure that you're not pulling on it too hard, but it did come up pretty easily as I was pulling on it. So if you need to use any kind of little tweezers or anything to kind of weed it and get it up, go ahead and use that, but just take your time and be careful with it. Once you have the letters completely weeded the way that you want, you can go ahead and just peel that freezer paper right off the back of the words. It comes off really easily, and that way your words are good to go and you can go ahead and set them to the side. Then go ahead and peel off the pennant part. Now this part has been sitting here a little bit longer, so it seems to be sticking a little bit more, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just get the felt up the way that you want it. And in case you didn't know, you can always wash your mats. So if for some reason that backing, that freezer paper or the heat and bond that you use kind of sticks to the mat, don't worry about it. You can always peel it off. You can try to weed it off with a little weeding tool. If it doesn't come off like that, you can actually wash your Cricut mat. So there's instructions on the Cricut website, but it works. You scrub it and then let it air dry, and it really does get its stickiness back. But look how cute that looks. It already looks so cute. I'm just going to go ahead and use hot glue to attach everything, and first I'm going to glue the little pennant part onto the dowel rod. So I showed you before how I had some extra felt kind of to the left side of where the words would be, and so this is why. That way there was felt to wrap around the dowel rod. So going ahead and gluing this part to the dowel rod first will allow you to center the words later when it's time to put the words on. So go ahead and just use some hot glue, attach the dowel rod, and then we'll move on to the next part. And so of course this part is totally optional, but while I was gathering my supplies in my craft room, I came across this white pom-pom trim that I just thought was so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and glue a piece of this trim along the bottom of the pennant. But of course, like all the crafts that I do, just change this up however you want it. So if you want the pennant or the words parts to be different colors than the colors I used, or you want to add different trim or no trim, just do whatever you want to make it your own and make it look exactly the way that you want it to. And so I don't know how many of you actually give your kids boo baskets for Halloween, but it's really popular on Instagram. It's something everybody's talking about right now. So I thought this would be a fun little item to add to a boo basket for your kids instead of just filling it with a bunch of Halloween candy. And so I have 3 girls, which is why I made mine super girly, kind of pink letters instead of the typical orange for Halloween, because my girls love girly girl stuff. Okay, go ahead and grab the words, and we're going to place the words on the pennant wherever you want it. Of course, you can put yours more to the left or the right. When it cut out, it kind of had them centered over each other. But as I kind of played around with it, I ended up putting the boo part a little bit to the right because I thought it looked a little bit better as far as how much room I had on the pennant. So go ahead and just mess with it and get the placement exactly the way you want it. Once you have your words right where you want them, you can go ahead and use hot glue to attach the words to the pennant. So it's easier to kind of hold down a little bit of the word and add some hot glue here and there rather than lifting the whole word up, putting glue on it, and having to put it back on the pennant. So kind of lift sections up, use a little bit of hot glue. You don't need to use huge globs that are going to seep out underneath it. So just be careful, use a little bit at a time, and go ahead and get the words glued down. Okay, so to finish up the wand, I just added some cute little ribbons. I have this chiffon fringe ribbon that I love. I have a bunch in tons of colors, so I'll link some in the description below this video as well. And then I added a cute little black and white ribbon just to kind of tie everything together color-wise. So go ahead and add some funky ribbons that match whatever colors you picked out for the felt and give it a cute little bit of flair. Okay friends, so that's it. That is how I use my Cricut Explorer Air 2 to cut felt and make this super cute Hey Boo pennant wand for my girls. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye!